partnership firm is a form of business where two or more individuals come together to carry out a common goal or objective.
Proprietorship firm and partnership firm.
Not only NRIs, but anyone abroad who is willing to set up.
So I think I've heard terms like
FMR Finance Weekly. Simplify your life with our financial advice.
Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today we have our guest, Mr. Chaitanya Garg, who is the founder of File My Return. And Mr. Garg has been with us for past many weeks. We have covered a lot of videos centered around NRI taxation and financial topics. And today I have another topic which is very, very relevant for the NRI community. And if you want to leverage the entrepreneurial culture back in India, and if you want to set up a business in India, then we will be discussing that what are the requirements to set up a business back in India, what are different structures that you can leverage, what are the compliance requirements, and so on. So whether you are planning to expand your existing business in India or you want to establish a new venture back in India, we would be discussing all of this in our videos. So we will be having ongoing series around this. So we'll have in total around 5 or 6 different videos. Mr. Garg, welcome back to my channel. Hope you're doing well.
Thank you, Paul, for having me back. Not only NRIs, but anyone abroad who is willing to set up in India, then this is a right series to be following. So thank you so much for having me here.
So in this particular session, we will address the very fundamental question that what are the various entity structures that are available in India?
Sure. So, Parul, when we say business structures, this is the very foundation with which you would start a business with. So, whether you would like to go very solo on a solo journey, you would like to set up that business is completely controlled, owned, and by you solely, or you would like to do something in a partnership kind of an environment, or in a partnership with limited liabilities, or in a very, very formal way where the company or the entity structure is separate from the promoters. So it's a separate organization altogether. It has a distinct identity of itself. So those are the kind of structures we talk about. So choosing the right business structure is one of the most critical decisions for entrepreneurs in India. So it determines how the business will be owned, managed, and taxed, while influencing factors like liability, funding, potential funding, or the compliance requirement, as you mentioned earlier.
So I think I've heard terms like proprietorship firm and partnership firm.
Yeah.
Some people say limited liability partnership firm. Then there is private limited company, Section 8 company. There's so many jargons out there.
Yeah.
So maybe if you can simplify a little bit for our audience.
Surely. So we'll take on all of these structures individually and in a sequential manner. So let's start off with the first one, the sole proprietorship. As I was saying, that if one wants to embark on a journey, an entrepreneurial journey on a solo basis, then sole proprietorship is the one entity structure which is most relevant for him. The business which will be owned, managed, and controlled by the single individual who will be known as the proprietor, since he's solely responsible for owning, managing, and controlling the business. So that's why this entity structure is known as sole proprietorship. So there are some key considerations which, if you're embarking on a sole proprietorship journey, then you should be aware of. As I said, the ownership and liability is of the sole proprietorship firm is solely of the individual. So there's no distinction as such between the entity or the individual. Then he will have no partners or shareholders in his entrepreneur. Then there is very, very minimal compliances which are required to be met. Whatever you are earning, you need to file your taxes on time, your tax returns on time. So it's completely solely driven by the individual that way. Then when you're applying for any kind of registrations, then it will require the individual's identity proofs in terms of, let's say, if you're going to apply for a goods and service tax number, the GSTN registration. So then your individual's PAN card and Aadhaar card would be required to apply for that GSTN number.
You said that sole proprietorships are probably the easiest to set up. So what are some of the key considerations, let's say, an entrepreneur should keep in mind when choosing this structure? And most importantly, this structure of sole proprietorship is relevant for what kind of entrepreneurs?
So, if I were to address your second question first, so sole proprietorship would be a right appropriate structure for someone who is setting up a very, very small business where he does not require help of anybody else, but only for himself, or he may hire one or two persons under him. But then the complete structure is a very, very small organization in that sense. Key considerations, as you were mentioning earlier, it's that it's a very, very simple structure in that sense that he does not want any kind of entity to be created, like a private limited company or Section 8 company. He just wants that I am offering those services. So the entire billing is in my name or the proprietorship firm's name. So in that way, I control it, I own it, I manage it.
It's basically, let's say, for people, I mean, just as an example, it's for people who are either freelancers doing a side hustle. They may have a day job, for example, but they have like a small little business of their own at the side, and they don't want to overcomplicate it. So for them, I would say that something like a sole proprietorship would make perfect sense. And then let's move to the next kind of structure wherein we mentioned about partnership firms. And as the name suggests, the partnership firms, I'm assuming, will involve shared responsibilities, because like in solo proprietorship, there's just a single person, he or she is the end-to-end owner. In a partnership firm, I'm assuming there would be shared responsibilities and mutual agency. So how is this different to, let's say, sole proprietorship, and how does this impact the decision-making process, and what are different liabilities of different partners in a partnership firm?
Partnership firm is a form of business where two or more individuals come together to carry out a common goal or objective with a view to earning some profits, right? So partnership firm is governed by the Partnership Act of 1932 in India. This partnership firm, then the partners will also need to contribute their capital. They will have to share the profits and losses equally. They would have to contribute their time, their knowledge, acumen to the business, and then they jointly have to manage the operations of the business. So when we talk about the decision making or the key features of the partnership firm, then let's cover it point by point. So first and foremost, what would be required is the partnership agreement. That agreement will define the terms and conditions which will govern the partnership. That will define the capital contribution, the profit sharing ratios, the decision making authorities, and the duration of the partnership. Then for the partnership firm, as I said, that at least two individuals are required. So they can be as many partners as they want. There's no upper limit on the number of partners. It solely depends on the partnership and also on the local laws, if any. Then mutual agency is one of the fundamental principles of partnership. It's so each partner is an agent of the firm and has the authority to bind the partnership with his or her decision being made on the behalf of the partnership firm. So partners in a partnership firm, they have unlimited personal liabilities also for the debts and obligations of the partnership firm. So if the firm is not able to meet their liabilities, then partners' personal assets will also be used to settle the debts of the partnership firm. So in that sense, these are the key considerations which one should be aware of while setting up his partnership firm in India.
I have like a couple of follow-up questions on this one.
Sure.
So if, let's say, an NRI is one of the partners, what about the nationality of the other partners?
It does not matter. So the partnership firm, if it's being opened in India, there can be any partners. It's not like Dubai that there needs to be one local resident. It does not matter.
You also mentioned that, let's say, the liabilities and the assets are divided, equally. So that would be in the proportion of their stake in the company,
Absolutely.
I believe, right?
Absolutely.
And it can be family member as well, right?
Definitely. It can be a related person or unrelated person. The partnership can be between anyone.
And in any event of dispute, that agreement would be the
Yeah.
single source of truth, I believe. Okay.
Yeah. If not, that has not also been defined clearly, then the Partnership Act, as I said earlier, that Partnership Act will define how to part ways or how to dissolve the partnership.
So we'll conclude the first episode here, Mr. Garg. We spoke about different structures, why it's so important to select the right structure. We spoke about sole proprietorship, and we also spoke about the partnership forms. And there are a few other structures, which is the private limited companies and also Section 8 companies. We'll cover that in the next episode. So we'll wind up this episode here. Thank you so much, and I will see you in the upcoming episode.
Thank you. My pleasure.
FMR Finance Weekly. Simplify your life with our financial advice.